reason, but I found hope. Running showers and a new supply of time to know nothing at all.
Welcome back to another episode. This is a crazy setting for another episode. Yeah, I'm in the bed. Currently in a hotel. As you can see, my arm is wrapped up. I feel like I've had a crazy month. A really crazy month. In just past couple weeks. Yeah. It's been a long, well, I guess it's April. It's March and April been very crazy for me. So last I uploaded, I never dropped a video on YouTube, but I dropped a podcast on Apple and Spotify. And that was the last thing I dropped. I think that was the 23rd of March. Titled Killing Your Old Self. And thinking that one, I just kind of talked about. So at my track meet, March 7th, I messed up my arm. And stuff like that. Or I don't even know if I talked about that in like another one. But basically, I messed up my shoulder, everything. I tore my labrum, tore some ligaments, and then I like chipped a piece of my bone. At my track meet. So then, yeah, I've been just kind of dealing with that. And then, more recently, I had a video or whatever prepared to drop, but then I never dropped it. I ended up uploading it only on Spotify and only ended up uploading it on Spotify and Apple. But then after that, things kind of went sideways. I ended up in the hospital. And I was in the hospital for about almost a full week. Yeah, I went to the hospital. I was probably in the hospital from Wednesday to Monday. And what's the date today? It's April 11th. So that was almost a week ago. Yeah. Because I was in the hospital from like the 25th to the 31st, I think. And then, yeah. So I just probably got out, last week? But yeah. So I was in the hospital because I was dealing with some like bad muscle spasms on my hands. It was kind of like tweaking. It looked like this, and it was just like really aggressive, kind of violent stuff. Then kind of spread to my face and my leg. Things are pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, things are pretty bad. Almost lost my life in that situation, and it wasn't. I guess it was a couple times because I had like a couple major episodes, where it was just pretty violent. Like I don't really remember anything from like the whole week. It was probably like, I could say only like 2 days of like the whole week I probably fully remember, with like all the memories combined. But then after that, like the spasms and stuff, they told me that it was kind of due to stress, but then also like connected to my shoulder because they think that I like pierced a nerve or whatever, and that was causing my arm to tweak. But then when it came to my face and my leg and stuff like that, they didn't really understand. So neurologically, they said I was good, but yeah. So they thought me getting surgery on my shoulder, because I had to do that anyway, they thought that would help. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. I just got surgery the other day, April 10th. But yeah, that's where we're at. Like now, that's like the whole catch up, and like of everything that's been going on, right? But I feel like the meaning behind like making this podcast or this episode is like I'm finally starting to understand things, right? I felt like I felt like after the the experience in the hospital of me almost losing my life or whatever, um, it made me question like, yo, like why can't I remember anything or like what really happened or why this happened? And I was just frustrated because people started telling me like, oh yeah, this was due to stress and different things like that, and like, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I was frustrated because I felt like, dang, like okay, so if it's not stress, then why is my mind failing me at this point? I've been able to push this far. Why now have I not been able to get to where I need to be, or why now have I like shut down and my body start to act this way to get to literally near death or something like that in order for me to like I guess not be stressed or realize that I need to really handle things better. And that was frustrating me, um and then I started thinking, and I guess I found a comparison connected to my last podcast. The last podcast was titled Killing Your Old Self. And that was interesting to me because then it connected to this experience because it was like maybe it was like God giving me a lesson in a literal sense, saying I almost had to die in order to figure out that the path that I'm going down or the way that I handle things isn't the right way. And I had to almost die in order to literally almost die in order to kill my old self. And it was interesting. Right. And then I had another incident happen the weekend following. Um and basically, well, first let me connect this point. So I guess there was a conversation I was had like I don't really remember. I was just told in the hospital. Basically, the conversation was somebody was saying to me, um, they're basically saying because like I couldn't breathe and stuff like that, and they basically said like if I keep trying to do this for everybody else and I don't do it for me, then I'm not gonna make it. And I had asked him to repeat that a couple times because it was interesting to me. Like my question was, what made me get so far or finally say yes to choose myself um at this point, like what was my breaking point finally to say, yo, like I want to live. And I don't know if that sounds crazy, but still, like that was one of the questions I had that was like hit my mind because I just didn't understand, like, okay, if why can't I live for somebody else essentially, like I know I gotta choose me, but why can't I have other people, family, friends, or something like that, and as a motivation to keep pushing, like I had to have wanted it for myself. And I guess like in that mist I wasn't breathing or whatever. Then I out of nowhere ended up I wasn't breathing. Then like they said that or whatever, and then it was like a pause, and then I started breathing again. Um, so after getting told that, I was like, that was one of the questions that had been resonating in my mind. And then um, I had an incident or a situation or whatever. I feel like recently, like I've been like having issues with like my mood, I guess. Like it'll be like one little thing that kind of sets me off, and like I'll just kind of not really want to function at times, right? Um and figuring out how to necessarily not shut down, but in this certain moment I ended up shutting down and I didn't really try, right? And it I guess it affected the situation or the people that I was around as well. So I didn't want, I guess, like seeing that was like a big, I wouldn't even say shock, but it was like a big like wake up wake up call for me. And like it made me kind of like really it made me finally turn on the light, in my mind, and make everything click to say, okay, at the beginning of the year, I set out to say that, oh, I wanted to change or I wanted to do better. But I feel like I was always like halfway there. Like I was putting the key in and I was turning it, but I wasn't turning it all the way to actually, like, I guess, open the lock or release the lock, right? And let this new me or these new things go in, right? um, and I was probably just leaving space for a little bit to flood in, but then not the rest. So it was finally like getting to this point, having a situation happen, like seeing how much it affected me or just people around me. I was like, okay, like now, like I really want to change because I don't want to be this way or not be able to control myself or the way that I act. And that was that was a big thing for me that finally like it made everything click because it was like it was me finally fully getting the clarity that I needed. Like I hated the fact that the situation even happened, but then coming back to realize maybe I needed the situation to happen because I needed to consciously make the decision to be better and fully change the way that I acted. Instead, when having that whole conversation in the hospital, I made that choice to do better for me subconsciously, but I needed to physically come to a point where I had something happen where I directly could say it. And God been cooking me, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. That boy has been cooking me. And I appreciate him though. And it sucks that I have to learn the way I do or gain the lessons this way, but honestly, I'm really thankful because like if it wasn't for the way these things happen, then I wouldn't fully, I feel like, have received them in the proper way that I needed to. And that sucks to say again, but still, um, at least I could say that I'm definitely learning and trying to figure out how to fully do good for myself and not just simply other people. And it's not even that all I want to do is be better for others. It's just really making the conscious decision to say I want to be good for me. And it was that moment that I finally said that because I feel like I never truly said that in my life, that I want to be better for me. That once I said that, that was the start of creating a new me in the sense. And I feel like that's that was the whole meaning behind starting all this, or even like just making an episode on killing your old self, right? I had to fully make the decision to get out of my own way and say that I want to be good for me, not for anybody else, not because it'll make other people's lives better, for me, because I know that I'll end up reaping the benefits of of what my life will look like if I choose to step outside of my own way and self-sabotage and not self-sabotage. Because I feel like one of my biggest forms of self-sabotage is finding happiness. Sorry, I'm flashing the napkins. But one of my biggest forms of self-sabotage is finding happiness. And again, this was a moment where I guess I should have been happy or I should have just enjoyed the time, but I didn't because I got in my own way and I self-sabotaged. And like happiness had always been a question for me. I think I even made a podcast on it. It had always been a question for me, like how do you feel happy? Like what does happiness actually mean? What is it? You know? And I was always stuck on that because I never let myself fully feel it, and I finally realized. And even though I said it, I think I said it in the podcast or whatever. Even if I didn't, I finally realized that happiness is something that I had to choose. And having this moment happen, realized that I wasn't choosing happiness, and and it's something that you constantly still have to choose or pursue. You know, um, and if I want, I can't. It's not something that I can just necessarily say I want and expect it to come automatically. I have to choose it. You know, like I have to choose. I have to choose what mood I want to be in. Essentially, like yeah, there's gonna be certain things that like frustrate you or irritate you or make you sad or happy in general, but you could choose to let these certain things fully affect your mood or choose which route that you actually want to go down. And me re I guess me relearning that is important, and that's where like I'm at now, like trying to reiterate that back in my mind to fully create this better and new self. Um, Relearning that I get to choose how I want to feel and not letting other things choose my feelings for me. And that's like the most important and biggest key that like is clicking back in my mind again. And I'm like again, I'm thankful that it is clicking again, but it sucks in the way that it had to come. But I'm glad that it did, honestly. But um yeah, I've had a crazy couple weeks, man. And now with this shoulder injury, like this is gonna be a whole process of learning a bunch of new things and really working on my mental and different things like that, and just learning new tools for myself. But um, it's not gonna be easy, but I think it's something that I'm actually fully committed to and not just saying it. Um, but yeah, um, appreciate you guys for listening. And if you are gonna come along the journey, I'm gonna try to be more consistent again. I just been having a crazy, like I said, crazy month and stuff like that. Just trying to catch up with school, figure out what I need to do and stuff like that. So it's just been a lot going on. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in still, and yeah, just thank you guys for um, taking the time out today to watch this or even listen to this. And yeah, if you guys are following the YouTube and not following the Spotify or Apple, it's the Real Talk podcast on Spotify and Apple. And if you're listening on Spotify and Apple, go follow the YouTube at JAYYY29, and you can see my face. So yeah, that's JA with 3 Y's 29. But again, yeah, thank you guys for listening or watching. I hope you guys have a good day, good afternoon, or good night.